What is the most important challenge to the average young Nigerian today in Nigeria? And how can we solve this? The answer to me is not so far-fetched. Jobs and insecurity. If you are under the age of 25, you are almost in a minority in Nigeria. And on a yearly basis, people continue to graduate from the NYSC program, people continue to graduate from universities. But our economy does not create enough jobs to sustain these people. And this is what has also led to the increase in crime rates that we're currently witnessing in the country. Kidnapping is now a business, is now a serious business, especially in the north. Now, when we've said that the increasing number of children in the north who don't have access to education is a problem, and that our population increase is not an hazard, people have said no. Now, when you're increasing the population, that it's an hazard. But how is a population, increasing population with no skills, no education, no jobs, an asset and not a liability? Now, we are beginning to face the consequences of the decisions or the indecisions, as it may, of the people who lead us. And now, we have an increase in crime rates, kidnappings from the north to the south, so it's irrespective of any region in the country. How do we solve those things? Before the elections, there were a lot of candidates who came up with beautiful ideas, who came up with different ideas. Now, as we get close to Democracy Day, it's becoming increasingly clear that these candidates have also said they no longer want to be partisan. Some of them have said they now want to focus on some other things or some other kind of front. But a recurring phrase, a recurring word, rather, that we knew, that we heard during the elections was restructuring. Now, there's very, very little that you hear about that word today. But I, for one, am a believer in the idea that Nigeria cannot move forward with this structure. Maybe we did it for the last 20 years now, democracy, which is good, admitted, right? But with an increasing population and an increasing strain, an increasing burden on the central government, it cannot stand. It is not sustainable. And I don't believe that when the Holy Bible mentioned in Psalms 11 verse 3, if the foundations are destroyed, if the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? Nigerians' foundations today are faulty. There is no question about that. You go to anybody who wants to tell you the truth about our country, that is where we should start. Are there short-term solutions to solving insecurity, solving jobs, or to creating jobs? I don't believe there are. People have said the president should sack the service chiefs, and we know that won't happen. We know this president that we have, who recently said that he thinks that the IGP is working because he's getting leaner. We know that won't happen. But even if the service chiefs were to be sacked, does that solve the problem of local policing or the kind of security that ensures that the governor of the state is not the chief security officer of his state, and he has to defer to the commissioner of police, who then defers back to Abuja on a security matter? Will short-term solutions solve the problem of unemployment, increasing unemployment amongst the young people of Nigeria? There are a lot of people who have been kidnapped. And of course, I don't know a lot of them, but I know one. And I've heard stories. And the question I usually want to hear, or the answer I usually want to hear, is whether those people who were the kidnappers were in their 40s or their 50s or their 60s. The answer is no. Majority of them are in their 20s. Majority of people who kidnap are in their 20s, in their 30s. These are the consequences of a population that is not put to work, that is not employed, or even employable. My core belief, of course with a few other young people, is that we must return to the foundations. And in doing that, Raising New Voices initiative will be having a dialogue across the entire country. From Niger to Borno to Osun to Lagos, as many places as possible. It's a dialogue. And we're going to be talking about these three things: jobs, insecurity, and how restructuring our country applies to these two things, which are, like I said, the two major things that young Nigerians, are challenged about, and even old Nigerians. If you believe that we have what it takes, we have the numbers to be able to shape the kind of future that we want for our country, if you believe that we don't have to wait for a destroyed future to be handed over to our generation, when those who made the policies and legislation today would already be dead in 20, 30 years. If you believe that we can shape our country exactly the way that we want it, then you should join us. Very close to Democracy Day, or around Democracy Day, that's May 29th this year, which is in a few weeks. We'll be hosting as many dialogues as possible in as many states as possible, as Raising New Voices. And I'm imploring you to join us. You don't have to be a member of RNV, you don't have to join the movement, but come and let us discuss what we hope would accumulate into what we call the Federalist Charter, which is what we will then bank on in taking forward that conversation about how exactly we want to shape our country and our future. Thank you for listening. My name is Jude. My friends call me JFK. And I hope you show up. Thank you.